It's mathematically impossible for the market to not pay you what you are worth.
If your income feels stuck, then you need to know what Patrick means when he says it's impossible to not get paid what you're worth. He's not talking about your worth as a person. He's talking about the income formula. Value times demand equals income. The more value you provide and the more demand that you tap into, the more your income's going to grow. And if either number is low, your income will stay low, not because the market's rejecting you, just because the market is leaving you on red because it has better options at the time. But the moment you lift the right lever, the market comes back around like, hey, how you doing? While your income reaches new heights. And in this video, Patrick and I are going to show you how to spot your biggest growth levers, how to raise both sides of the equation, and how to tap into a secret multiplier as well. And all the while, we're gonna highlight some of Patrick Bet-David's biggest insights on how he went from being broke to creating a net worth of over $500 million. Yes, he's been applying this formula for a long time now. But I would not be doing this clip justice if I didn't show you the bars that he drops right before and right after. And we're going to break down the key that almost everyone misreads.
25,
finding someone you respect that you want to go work with and learn from.
Get into the right circle and go work under a killer. By far, accelerate your amount of learning by a decade. It's not even close.
Right.
But if I'm 45 today and I lose everything, I'm not worried about it at all. I'm not worried about it at all because the way the market works is in the following way. It's mathematically impossible for the market to not pay you what you are worth, period. It's mathematically impossible. You can lose it all. The market will say he's going through a bad season, she's going through a bad season. Within a year, 2 years, 3 years, the market's still going to come back and give you that money. Now, if you've made a fatal mistake, if you've made a royal mistake, what does that mean? If you lost your money over the last 20 years because the way people saw who you were for 20 years was a profile of a guy who did this, great. And then all of a sudden you flip and you all of a sudden start doing something dumb that has not been part of who we've known you for 20 years, then yes, the market is not going to pay you the same thing. You just ruin your reputation in the marketplace and you're going to take a hit and you're going to have to come back and try to rebuild that. Right. You can still do it, but it's going to be a lot of work. But if you lost it because of a business decision, if you lost it because something happened to the market, the money's going to come back up.
Really?
No question about it. People fear that too much. No question about it. If you're
boom, there is so much packed into that one clip. He just gave you 3 levers that drive your income. 1, the skill level for the value you provide. 2, your ability to access the demand for that value. And 3, your reputation. And even if you get one of those wrong, it could crush your income. Value, demand, and reputation are 3 critical factors that the market uses to decide how much to pay you. Let's start with the first tip because he literally shows you how to compress 10 years of progress into a few months. Working for a killer is like someone handing you the answers to the test you're about to take, except the test is your standard of living. 6 years ago, when I was brand new to sales, working 80+ hours a week, there was a late night, right, where I was just staring at my computer and trying to figure out how I went almost 2 weeks making no commissions, right? And I checked my bank account and it's literally red, right? Negative, like my bank is mad at me or something. And I was burnt out and just wondering like, how did I freaking get in this hole? How am I going to get out? And doubting if I could even do sales. But then I got a text from my friend who was the best sales guy that I knew saying, yo, want to meet my mentor tomorrow? And I knew his mentor has already closed over 300 million in cash collected deals at this point. So I was in. And she was asking basically what I was doing, what my strategy was. And I showed her I was following this mentorship that was a 7.5K mentorship that I was doing at the time. And she briefly looks through it and then just says, you paid $7.5 grand for this crap? This overcomplicates everything. And boom, that was the mentorship. Just kidding. I ended up working for her and studying her calls, her process, and the way she operated. Within months, I went from struggling to consistently get sales to closing hundreds of thousands every month, and then eventually closing my first $1 million month. I went from almost quitting on sales to leading 2 sales teams to all-time revenue records. And Patrick says that you can compress a decade worth of knowledge into a few months by working for a killer. I don't know if I ever would have learned the things that I learned from working with this world-class sales rep. It's not just about the skill that gets you interested in learning from them in the first place. You get to see how they determine what's important and what's irrelevant, and you learn faster, you grow faster, you avoid so many problems and mistakes and just get straight to the good stuff. Literally, all of the best sales pros I know have worked with other world-class sales reps at some point. The second point he makes is it's mathematically impossible for the market not to pay you what you're worth. And what he's talking about here is the income formula. Value times demand equals income. Value is the level to which you actually help people or businesses, and demand is the level to which people want that help and the level to which they're willing to pay for it. So if you feel underpaid, one of 3 things is true. Your value provided is low, the demand is low, or both. Now, let's test this formula to see which side has your biggest opportunity for growth. For sales, we'll say value is the price point and the commission percentage. And for demand, we'll call that deals closed. Let's say it's a 10K offer with a 10% commission, and you close 3 of those deals a week. That's about 12 grand a month. Now swap that offer to a 100K offer. And coming from someone who's closed a $476,000 deal and many deals over $100,000, I can say it's about the same amount of effort to close a high ticket deal as a low ticket deal, but one of them gives you better options for date night. Same skills, same calendar, very different income. And sometimes it's not value. Sometimes it's demand. Maybe your lead flow is not flowing at all. Or maybe your leads are colder than Canadians when you tell them that the US is better at hockey. A calendar full of warm leads might just be your ticket to multiplying your income. Founders, same formula, new variables. Value becomes lifetime value, LTV, and demand becomes number of clients. 2 massive levers to increase lifetime value are upsells and retention. For those of you who don't know yet, an upsell is basically where you tell a rich person, I know you don't want to take any time away from your golf and your date nights and your yacht parties, so let's just add an extra digit and we'll do all the work for you. All jokes aside, here's the power of an upsell. Let's say someone has a group coaching offer for $10,000. If they get 10% of their clients to invest in a $100,000 VIP or one-on-one experience, that literally doubles the average value of their clients. Or if you keep clients twice as long with a recurring offer, that literally doubles the average value of your clients as well, with no new leads, ads, or calls. And look, we recruit for a lot of subscription and retainer-based offers as well. And what we see is that people don't quit because there's a lack of value. They quit because they don't see the value. And there's this marketing company where all they did was send a weekly report where we got you this many leads and this many impressions and this many calls and just a weekly report of all the inputs, right? And that literally quadrupled their retention rate of their clients and got them a ton of reviews because people could see the progress and see the value when they're just getting those little quick emails once a week. And here's one more bonus lever. When your offer solves someone's problem, is there another problem that they're going to have next? That right there will become a way for you to double up on your deals, and those leads will be about as warm as they get. And the last topic we're going to cover from that PBD clip is when he talks about how your reputation can crush your income. I nerd out and study so many marketers, and in my opinion, Alex Hormozy and Alex Becker are 2 of the best on the planet. And both of them say the best thing you can do for marketing is get people results. And Patrick Bet-David is saying the same thing in that clip when he says, for 20 years. You're doing this, 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 and this, and get results. But if you start doing things that contradict that reputation, then your reputation is crushed and your income falls. So here's a formula for reputation. Reputation equals results times consistency times time. When you get people with strong results consistently over a long period of time, your interest and your demand multiplies, and you can start doing bigger deals and higher volumes of deals. But if you have weak or inconsistent results, then that becomes your reputation, and your reputation starts working against you. And that's because your reputation is the demand multiplier. It's either multiplying for you or against you. It's kind of like compound interest, but if you make a big enough withdrawal, it's very public and somebody might put you on the news. So how do you build your reputation in a way that the market actually cares about? One, pick a lane. Focus on something specific like sales, operations, marketing, right? Deliver great value in that lane over and over again. Then make those results visible. Success stories, metrics. If you want to get real fancy, you can get PR and have all these big time magazines and stuff write good things about you. Quick secret, over 90% of like the entrepreneurs I know that have had that actually pay for that. And finally, stay congruent. Every time you switch an industry, you're starting from scratch. And if you do it enough, you gain the reputation of not being able to follow through. And with that, Patrick Bet-David drops multiple more bars that can help you increase your value to the marketplace even more. And in this next clip I'm about to show you, he compares two different candidates he had applying to do sales for him. One that had the perfect resume, credentials, and background, but was not very motivated. And one who was very rough around the edges, but was on fire with motivation. And in the next clip, he breaks down what's more important: mental intelligence, emotional intelligence, drive, right? But before I tell you what he says, I want you to think, what's more important, mental intelligence or emotional intelligence? Also, guess what Patrick thinks? And spoiler alert, I disagree with him on one of the points he makes. Now let's roll the clip.
Then I realized a couple things. I had a guy I was working with that on paper, he would have been the best insurance agent out there. Guy had a Northrop Grumman background, he had a master's degree, he had this, he had that, he had a great market, all this stuff. And then I had another guy who was super emotional, super big reasons to win, no education, no 8-year, no 4-year, nothing. But this guy was emotionally charged to prove people wrong and to win at the highest level, right? This guy was like, yeah, I think if I do this much sales and this much, I'm gonna make $100,000 and here's what's gonna happen. And I'm planning on buying a house for my wife when her and I get married and we're gonna do this, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so but why are you doing this? Actually, I'm at a phase of my life that I need to be doing this. I'm at that age.
No emotion.
No emotion. So who's right? Is it this guy or is it this guy? So then I'm like, well, let me kind of test this out because I don't know yet. I'm only 25.
Right.
So I'm like, this guy sounds more convincing because I would buy from this guy. But man, this guy's embarrassing. If you put him in front of a client, he may scare the crap out of the client because he has no clue what he's talking about. He talks slang, he's ghetto a little bit. Who the hell is going to win here? And then you kind of size it up and you realize neither one of them are going to win because one without the other is not going to happen. So then I said, you need both. You need emotion and logic. The best people have both.
Boom. The key line there is that neither of them are going to win because you need both. You need enough intelligence to be able to solve real problems and also come across as competent. And by competent, I mean come across as someone that people can trust, can actually get results, and actually knows what they're talking about. And you need enough emotional intelligence to be able to work well with other people and have the drive to power through even when things get hard. We're going to dive deeper into this in a moment, but first, everyone should know that having a higher IQ, right, which is just basically a measure of your mental abilities and intelligence, it's not perfect, but that's what it's designed to do. People with higher IQs, on average, make more money, have better health, live longer, are more likely to get married and less likely to get divorced. And a lot of people don't know this, but it is 100% possible to raise your IQ. In fact, people do this all the time. Simply sleeping better, eating healthier, exercising, all have been shown to boost IQ, and you can train your brain. And by the way, I have links to scientific studies to back all of these things that I'm sharing here, right? But there's a lot of studies backing the fact that emotional intelligence, aka your ability to understand your emotions and other people's emotions, is linked to better performance at work, higher leadership potential, an increased ability to resolve conflicts, and increased ability to manage and lower stress. Pretty much, this video is already a lot longer than intended. So instead of diving deep into this video on how to boost emotional intelligence, I put my 3 favorite books on the topic, actually 4 favorite books on the topic, in the description to this video. No affiliate links, just sharing things that really helped me. And another thing I've seen make a huge difference is having deep awareness of body language, tonality, and facial expressions. And I have a video for body language and a video for tonality here on YouTube. I actually have multiple for each. And quick fun facts about facial expressions. No matter what your ethnicity is and what your background is, every human being has at least 7 facial expressions that everyone uses throughout their life. And if you can see the 7 most common facial expressions and understand what emotion that they're linked to, then that just massively increases your awareness on other people's emotions as well. But the main message Patrick's making here is that it's not about having just a high IQ or a high EQ. It's really the combination of the two. So the formula is increasing your IQ, mental intelligence, and increasing your EQ, emotional intelligence, equals long-term success. But I want to especially highlight what Patrick was focused on most when it came to emotions, and that is willingness. Willingness beats talent. But if you have both, then you have the jackpot. And I've mentored over 200 people on Zoom in high ticket sales historically. I'm not really doing that anymore. But when I was, one thing that became incredibly clear is that willingness beat talent over and over again. And when I was just getting into high ticket sales, I actually had 2 friends back when I was in Northern California also getting into it at the same time, right? And one of my friends was very smart, very refined, great social skills, and just seemed like he was just absolutely going to crush it, right? And another one of my friends had tats. He kind of talked a bit hood. He got interested in sales because his rap career didn't work out. And basically, he's not exactly what LinkedIn would call polished. And the 3 of us actually got invited to stay with 2 of the most successful students in the coaching program we were doing at the time. And both of those students are now multimillionaires. And one of them was 21 at the time, making over 25 grand a month in commissions. But right before we were about to make the trip down from Northern California down to Southern California to stay with them, friend A bailed and he said he would catch up with us later, right? But friend B, right before we got into the car to drive down there, grabbed my hand and gave me a look with like do or die in his eyes. And he said, "We are going to succeed or die trying." And fast forward a few months, friend A, the super talented one, quit within a few months and moved back in with his parents. The less polished friend made over $1 million net last year as a vice president of sales for a multi 8-figure company. Same economy, same industry, same program, but different levels of willingness. And the highest level sales authorities I've met all agree that willingness beats talent in the long run. And one of the biggest reasons why is that your skill set, your connections, and everything that comes from the willingness to move forward and make progress, it compounds, right? The more skills and experience and connections you have, the better opportunities that you have, the more support you have, the more resources, and it just becomes easier and easier to succeed in whatever area you're going down, right? As long as you have the willingness to do what it takes to continually move forward and make progress wherever you're at right now. And if you combine willingness with IQ maxing and EQ maxing, aka maximizing your mental and emotional intelligence, then you'll be like my friend, right? Who just a few years into his career made over $10 million net in a single year. And if you want the full breakdown of exactly what that guy did, comment willpower. Now, this next clip is one of my favorite clips in the whole interview because it breaks down how fast your income and your life can change when you get connected with the right people and the right opportunities. And it also breaks down how most people can't even tell the difference between an 8 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10. So let's roll the clip.
Read more? Do I need to study more? Do I need to watch myself more? Do I need to sit down with other people that know me well and ask them to give me, very sincere direction? Do I need to hire somebody to, give me feedback? What do I need to be doing?
What is that for you? What do you need to reinvent next year for yourself?
For me?
Yeah.
It's just hiring 10s. What do I need to do to hire 10s? I read this book by Steven Schwartzman. I think it's called Whatever It Takes. It's a blue book, billionaire, $20, $30 billion guy. This is the Blackstone guy. Phenomenal. They used to be partners with Larry Fink, and they had a falling out, and that's how BlackRock and Blackstone got started. One of them wanted to give equity to all their employees. The other one kind of didn't want to do it. They wanted different structures. Both of them are very successful. But Schwartzman talks about what happened to their company when they started hiring 10s. And there's a difference between you think a person is a 10 and then a person is a 10. That person could be an 8.5, but in your world, you've never hired an 8.5.
I feel like a 10.
So to you, that's a 10. But that's an 8.5 in a Blackstone. Yeah. That's an 8.5 in maybe, an Apple or something like that. But in your company, they're 10 today. So
I love this because he's basically saying most people haven't even truly experienced what it's like working with someone that's a true 10 out of 10 world class at their craft. And with teams that you've been on, right? A guy that everyone thought was a 10 might be an 8.5 in a world class environment. And if you've never worked with someone who's world class before, then once you finally do, it just opens your eyes to how many more levels of performance are possible. And an example of how someone could be 10 out of 10 in a different environment. If you've ever seen someone who's played in the highest level of pro sports, right? We'll use basketball as an example because I freaking love basketball. But let's just say someone makes the NBA, right? And they're not even good enough to play a lot, right? They're like barely hanging on for a few years, right? Before they get kicked out of the league, right? Well, if that same guy goes to a recreation league, he's going to break records and just dominate everyone. And the people who play someone who's been in the NBA before for the first time usually say, oh my God, that guy is the best player like I've ever played against by far. Like it's not even close, right? So that's true for both sales teams and individual reps, but it also works the other way, right? Sometimes you might really be an 8 out of 10 sales rep, but you might be on a 5 out of 10 opportunity. And if you're able to switch to a better opportunity, then all of a sudden you're going to feel great at sales. And I'm going to share a story about my friend Dalen to help you understand how big of a difference this can make. So before Dalen got into sales, he was actually doing DoorDash. And I was already doing pretty well in high ticket sales. And I talked him in to trying it out, right? But his first job was pretty rough, right? There weren't many leads and the lead quality wasn't great. The clients weren't getting great results. And the business owner often didn't even pay him everything that he earned. And in his first job, he kept saying things like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, I don't know if I'm good at sales. Like, I don't like it. I don't know if this is what I want to do, right? And basically, I was like, bro, you're not bad at sales. You're just on a bad offer. And I introduced him to my friend's funding company that is getting great results. That's the same friend that made over $10 million just a few years into his career. And this company has great lead flow, high quality leads, right? Very nice compensation structure, and they get their clients great results as well. And this same guy went from making less than minimum wage in the same industry, just went to a better company, and he closed over $2.5 million in his first year with the company, made over $250,000 in commissions his first year with the company, right? He went from how do I pay for food and rent to living in a luxury apartment, dating his dream girl, and copping a Tesla. He didn't go from being a 5 out of 10 closer to being a 10 out of 10 closer. He just went from a 5 out of 10 opportunity to a 9 out of 10 opportunity. And that's because trying to hit your goals in a weak environment is like trying to drive to your destination in a 30-year-old Honda Civic, you know, the type that you need a prayer and a downhill slope just to start. And on the flip side, a great opportunity is like driving a Bugatti Chiron Supersport, one of the fastest cars in the world, the first street legal car in history to be able to go over 300 miles an hour. And when you're in a better vehicle, AKA environment, you're way more likely to get to where you want to go and hit your goals. You're way more likely to get there much faster, and it makes the entire process more enjoyable and more fun. So business owners with a sales team, sometimes you're just a couple hires away from not only increasing your profit graphs, but literally making them bend. And sales reps, don't beat yourself up for having a bad performance with one offer, right? Sometimes just changing your offer could be the difference between you having new levels of income and performing at a really high level. And over here at Aura, we believe both sides are equally important, and we obsess about both. And for founders, we introduce you to proven high ticket closers and setters who've performed at a high level and who meet all of your qualifications. And also, it's totally free to get introductions, and we guarantee that they perform, and we guarantee that they're a culture fit. And for sales reps, we introduce you to proven opportunities. Almost all of them have inbound leads, and we have a job board that is all the opportunities we're contracted to recruit for that are currently hiring right now, 100% free for reps, right? And overall, connecting great talent with great opportunities is just one piece of the overall picture, but a lot of times it can make a world of a difference. But let's bring this all back full circle with a quick recap. From the first clip with Patrick, value times demand equals income. Increasing either number increases your income. The market eventually pays you exactly the amount of value you provide to the marketplace. For clip number 2, logic gives you the route, but drive takes you to the destination. Increasing mental intelligence and emotional intelligence and letting your drive burn like a fire all increase your success. And for clip number 3, your environment is a multiplier, right? When you place yourself around greater people and in greater opportunities, it multiplies the likelihood, the level, and the speed of your success. And as you upgrade your skills, your value to the marketplace, your drive, EQ, IQ, all these things, then success becomes inevitable. But most importantly, remember this: even if the market isn't reflecting the value you see yourself as your income yet, your value as a person is priceless. But the drivers of your income are how much value you provide to the marketplace and how much demand you can access for the value provided. And both of these factors are totally controllable, or you can direct them, you can increase them, and you can improve them. And as far as I've seen, this is a never-ending game, which makes it fun, because no matter how successful you are, there's always more levels that you can rise to. But what you saw is just one part of the bigger picture, and the next lessons make it even clearer. So if you want to learn faster than everyone else, tap this playlist. It's packed with highlight level insights from some of the most successful people on the planet, and broken down in ways from a professional operator that make it so simple you can apply them immediately to get the benefits from them. With that, let's run it up.